A twin-stick shooter which looks simple on the outside but has a surprising amount of depth. This is Thoth, a twin-stick shooter which is a take on things like asteroids but really opens it up by having a good amount of variety and using different combinations to make the levels different and difficult in their own way. Oddly enough, there isn't a story. In fact, there's barely even a menu. You pick a level and away you go. Basically, you're one dot and you have to blow the colours out of moving shapes while getting out of the way of any heading towards you. Simple enough, right? It starts out quite easy, the shapes bounce around the arena and you just have to shoot them, but once you destroy them they turn into a space void which now homes in on you wherever you go. So you need to either get good at killing them in quick succession or avoiding them. They're both perfectly feasible tactics. One thing that's worth mentioning about the movement is that you move faster when you're not shooting. This is a useful nugget of information which you'll need right from the start pretty much, as once they start homing in on you, you need to move fast. But the different challenges do get more and more interesting, progressing through things like kills triggering switches which cordon off parts of the level, meaning you need to consider killing them in pairs to keep all your exits open. My personal favourite type was the boxes which contain a flashing circle. When you destroy these, it sends the circle flying across the map, and when you get your next kill you teleport to the flashing circle. This makes for some quite unique getaways and desperate attempts to get kills before you get squashed into the side of the arena. There are also a number of them which are so deadly and frustrating that your heart sinks whenever you see them. I think I died the most to the one which fires off 4 small voids every time you knock off a tier of its health bar off, and you need to do this 5 times to kill it. The difficulty here certainly has its peaks and troughs, as some of the shapes are particularly dangerous and others pose little to no threat at all, but the mix can sometimes lead to any of them being nightmarish, although you can almost manage your own difficulty by choosing your moments carefully. I was guilty of killing when I shouldn't have on many occasions, leading to an instant death far too many times. But my problem with the way that it works is that the levels come in sets of 4 for the main portion of the game, and if you fail you get sent back to the first of those 4. It means if you're really struggling on a particular level you have to build back up to it time and time again. The only justification I can think of is to prolong the game. It only gets worse as well. Once you've completed the main portion of the game, you then get put onto a selection of randomly generated levels which you have to beat in a block of 8, which means it's just difficult for the sake of being difficult. The soundtrack is nothing to shout about in my opinion. It's fairly standard electronic stuff, except it doesn't really fit the gameplay. It's slow and atmospheric to some degree, and the gameplay is fast and frantic for the most part. It's a poor matching, and as a result it really loses its effectiveness. The graphics are very clean and colourful, but it's your usual simplistic style which has been used several times in small-scale indie titles at this point. It does the job, but I can't really say that it's a positive or a negative. I've played it for just a little over 2 hours and completed the first 64 levels. I've had about 30 minutes or so smashing my head against a brick wall with the next set of levels, and I can say that I'm thoroughly fed up now. Personally, I wouldn't recommend this game, but that's not to say that it's a bad one. I find the challenge involved here too frustrating for myself, with no real reward, and therefore my general experience is negative, but when I think about what the game actually offers, it does a lot with a very simple format. I think I would have enjoyed the whole thing a lot more if it had gone down the same route as games like Hotline Miami, where if you die you have an instant restart not that far from where you left off. This essentially numbs the pain of losing and makes it that little bit more manageable. Regardless of whether I recommend it or not, I think the standard asking price is very high for what you get, and if you're wanting to try it out for yourself I would say you're better off waiting to pick it up in a sale. If I want to play a difficult simplistic title, I'd still go back to Super Hexagon.